Hey friends, welcome. March is just around the corner, and if you have seen any of my previous videos, this is a year of experimenting with different ways of doing my personalized planner. I'm trying to stay away from the term bullet journal because of the Ryder Carroll method. It seems to have a very clear set of guidelines that those who follow it feel like anything that stays away from those guidelines is not really bullet journaling, and that's fair. Also because, I mean, if I'm not following, point by point the Ryder Carroll method, can I call this a bullet journal? Just because I like to use bullet points? I don't know. I would like to know your thoughts on this. Anyway, I'm setting up for March. I was not very happy on my Exceed notebook, and I mentioned this on my review of this notebook therapy notebook. My main reason was that I love working with my fountain pens, and they do not show their true color on the very creamy yellow paper of the Exceed notebook. I'm about on page 139. I did have to push myself to get this far, like really push myself, because I wanted to drop this notebook on the first week, mainly because of my inks. Second, because after working with my Galen leather bullet journal, I realized that I'm very comfortable in the B6 size. The A5, suddenly it felt huge. And the third reason why I wanted to start this one in here is because I want to incorporate artsy elements in my planning. I used to stay away from that because I found that it slows down, it creates some friction in my planning process. But I think I have found my planning style, and also I'm saving the art only for the beginning of my notebook and the beginning of the month. I will not decorate my weeklies or my dailies. I need to be able to plan without worrying about setting up, decorating, things like that. So basically my setup consists on starting this notebook pretty, or at least in a tone that makes me happy, and playing around with my monthly. That's basically my setup. I did some pre-work to test the paper. This is gouache. My inspiration in here has been Mexican fabrics and textiles. I love them. I absolutely love them. I think they're very inspiring, beautiful. So everything you will see here, and probably if I stick to this in future bullet journals, will be inspired in different elements of Mexican art. I am Mexican, I live in Mexico, so I'm starting with Mexican fabrics. And also another note, for when I set up my monthly and my weeklies, I will explain more in a moment. I will show you how it would look like in a simple way. I know that the artsy stuff is not everyone's cup of tea. Don't be discouraged. You can still watch this video, as I will show examples on how you can do the same setup in 2 different sizes, only with lines and no art. Also, as a side note, I rarely do my setups in one sitting. On one side I depend on the outside light, I depend on how much there is in my home. As you can see, it's getting late, so I have a lamp on the side and it's casting a shadow, and I don't love that. So you will see changes in my outfit because I will not shoot this in one sitting. And so also that will change what you see as I move forward. The day I'm starting this is all I have as a setup. but as I already want to start moving in here, by the time I finish, there will be probably some of my daily planning here in the back. I will try to show as much as I can of my process, but I depend on this shadow really, many different factors. So if you notice those kinds of changes, this is the reason. So yeah, I'm starting without dailies in here. So, but by the time I finish this, there may be a daily here in the back and some actual planning. I am starting this notebook with a quote, one of my favorite quotes from Don Quixote, and it says, "Trust in time, it usually provides a sweet way out of many bitter challenges." Given the times we're living, I thought it was a very appropriate quote to start this bullet journal. This flower you see in the right, I did it with gouache. I was at first testing how this paper handled my gouache paints, and I am adding some final touches with this washi tape set from Notebook Therapy. I think this is my favorite sticker washi tape set ever. Love it. It has a lot of flower themes, mushrooms, lots of it's really like nature inspired and fall inspired, but I love it. I don't care if it's March. I just love this set. It's called Maple Dreams. And as a final touch, I am using this gold gel pen to go around everything and give it kind of like a pop of color. This spread, this is the first time I do it in one of my personalized planners. On the left side, I'm doing a February review, kind of like what I accomplished, the highlights of the month, and on the right side, I want to write my overview for March and my goals for this coming month. And again, I'm using the gold gel pen to add a pop of color around this flower I designed in the center. This monthly view, I started using it in February, and this is kind of like a mindfulness log, if you will. I write down something that I am grateful for, or a highlight, or a milestone in regards to my personal growth. This is not for planning. My monthly view that I use for planning is in my Hobonichi weeks. That's why I'm allowing myself here kind of like the freedom to be more creative and artsy, and I really love how this turned out. In here, I tried to recreate a Mexican embroidery style known as Otomi Embroidery or Tenangos. They are made by the Otomi people, which are one of the many indigenous groups that live in Mexico. And these textiles represent a great Mexican tradition that shows native flora and fauna of the Otomi region. As a way to avoid having to wash my brush constantly, I tried to go by color. So I went first through everything that I wanted to be in red, then orange, then yellow, blue, purple,
And as I was going, I was evaluating which colors I wanted to see, and in this case there was no right order other than what I liked on the paper. I did try to match kind of the color palettes I saw on some embroideries that I have. I think I got close. I have seen mostly like primary colors and pastel colors. So I did plan my color palette beforehand, and as I was doing, I kept mixing colors because I was running out of tones to avoid repeating the same colors. Here I'm showing you how this same monthly can look like without any art or decorating, just lines, pen and paper. This is what I've been using for the past months, and on the little square on the left I have a sample of how it looks like on a pocket Moleskine. I will link both videos, my February setup where I show you how to do this same setup without the art, and I also will link the Moleskine tour I did a couple of months ago, so you can see how it can look like if the art and painting is not your thing. And this March cover, this spread, it felt like it took me forever. It was like an hour maybe additional to the previous spread. Maybe I'm not used to spending this much time setting up a planner or a notebook. I did enjoy the process, but yeah, it does take time. At least maybe with time I'll get more practice and be faster with this, but trying to recreate the Otomi style, switching colors constantly, it felt like it took me forever. Was it worth it? I did love the result. I would do it again, but only once a month, not weekly, not every 2 weeks, once a month maybe. But yeah, just keep that in mind, it does take time. In my case, I find the art process kind of like a moment for mindfulness, so I did play some relaxing music, I had tea on my side to be able to enjoy this. If you're in a hurry, this may not be the best alternative for you, so you can also look at my previous setup videos where I only use decorative paper to get away from doing the art myself. I know that for many people the bullet journal or a personalized planner are kind of the perfect gateway for creative expression, and that's awesome. I love watching those videos where I know some people do some amazing art on their journals. I love it. I love watching them, and I have been wanting to try it for a while. And since I gave myself the challenge this year to practice my drawing, sketching and painting, I figure why not? Once a month, it doesn't hurt, it's good practice, and it's a good moment to relax and just enjoy the process of making art. These monthly calendars, they're freebies from Paper Test Designs, they're printables. And even though I have not been drawing my monthly calendars for planning, I think it's a good thing to have a place to write some main events for the month somewhere in my notebook. Even though I have my Hobonichi weeks, in case I don't have it at hand, at least I have a place to write down some dates and events. And as you can see, I didn't like the blue wash I did here in the corner, so I added some paper and then the name of the month. And this weekly view, I use it, I define it as a mindfulness place. It's where I write my daily affirmation, my focus for the day, something that I'm grateful for, and yes, the lessons I learned each week. It's kind of, I relate it to mindfulness, to being present, and to personal growth. I have been using it also all of February, and I've been liking it a lot. And as you can see, I already have some dailies in here. This is the final look of my notebook. This is the cover page with my quote from Don Quixote, my February review and March overview. I already marked down some events for March that I want to keep in mind and remember, even if I don't have my Hobonichi weeks with me. The next page with the bird is where I want to add some pictures for the month. This is my monthly view for mindfulness, gratitude, intention, things like that. And then the cover, I love how it turned out. I added a quote, and I'm playing with a weekly view in here for planning. We'll see how it works. And I realized that I was missing some highlights for the days of the week and the titles in this weekly mindfulness spread. And finally, this is what my dailies look like, mostly pen and ink. It hasn't changed much since I went back to bullet journaling in June 2021, and I could not be happier with how this notebook turned out. I love how the wash looks on this paper. I'm not a big fan of thick paper, but it did handle pretty well my gouache paints. I hope this video was useful for you. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comment section below. And I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye bye.